Next up is one of the most well-known tracks from Electric Ladyland, Jimi Hendrix's version of Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower. This is a fantastic arrangement, and Jimi crafts incredible guitar parts through the whole song, and there's a progression of guitar solos. Each solo builds on the previous, and it's really fantastic. We're going to get into all the different guitar playing that Jimi did. One of the signatures of the track is a 12-string acoustic part that was played by Dave Mason from the band Traffic, and the bed rhythm track that is under the entire tune is laid down on 12-string acoustic. So we're going to start with the 12-string acoustic part, and then we're going to build the other electric guitar parts on top of that. Here we go. There's something about the intro to Along the Watchtower that confuses a lot of musicians, and that is where the one is, where the downbeat is. It really comes in, the way it's supposed to be played is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 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 and 3, and a 4, and 1. But many people hear it as 1, 2, 3, making that first C-sharp minor chord on the downbeat. 4 and 1 and 2, but that's wrong. And part of the reason it sounds like it's flipped around has to do with the drums and the cymbal crashes. But so you have to train yourself to hear it correctly. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2. And one of the ways to make sure you do that correctly, if you have your down-up strumming solid for where the beats are, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So that first strike on the B chord is going to be an upstroke. And 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So the first accent on the chords each time you go to a new pair of chords, either from B to C sharp or B to A, it's going to start with an upstroke. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 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 and 4, and 1. So the three chords are B, C sharp minor, back to B, and then to A, fifth position. And then after that initial 4-bar pickup, in bar 4, the strumming gets a little more animated and includes 16th notes. And now here, through the next 4 bars of the intro, you've got so you can hear there are some dead string hits in there. And that's sort of the kickoff to the chord change, and it also facilitates changing to the next chord. You can hit a dead string hit as you move your hand. After the acoustic 12-string sets up the song with the initial syncopated part for the first 4 bars, the electric guitar comes in with single note soloing. Jimi has a relatively clean tone. Sounds like he may be on the middle pickup position for that. And the solo is basically based on C-sharp minor pentatonic, as is most of the soloing in the tune. He does include the 9th, which is a D-sharp note, oftentimes by bending up to it, as he does right from the beginning. And all of the single note soloing that Jimi does in this song is very, very melodic and very beautiful, and just extremely well thought out, and it just doesn't sound like, just some guitar solos. It sounds like written parts. Very, very strong. So here is the electric guitar part for the intro of All Along the Watchtower. So in bar 4 of that intro, that's where Jimmy comes in. 1, 2, 3. So you're sliding up the 13th fret of the G string, and then index finger 12th fret of the B. The song's in C sharp, so there's your C sharp, 14th fret of the B, but we're bending it up a whole step to D sharp. And after the third time it's struck and bent, you add a vibrato. So you can see I have all 3 fingers lined up behind each other, so I have strength in the bend. And that helps me to put a vibrato on it too. And it's that second bend is really the downbeat of 1. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. So coming down. So you have that note bent and you're vibratoing it. And then you're going to keep it bent and pick it and release. So 14th fret bent a whole step up with the ring finger, release, index finger, 12th fret of the B, 13th of the G, 11th of the G. Then put a vibrato on that note. Here we're going to slide up to the 11th fret of the D, that's a C sharp note, the key we're in. With the ring finger, index 9th fret of the G, 11th fret of the G, bend up a whole step, release the bend and bend it again. And it sounds good to make those pre-bends. And then at the end of that bar, you're going to come down. 11, bend, unbend, 9, and then. So that's a quick hammer pull. 9, 11, 9 on the B string. So I bar my index finger across the G and B string at the 9th fret. And then bend the vibrato 12th fret of the B. And then at the end there, it's bent up and you slide down. Next up is the verse section of Along the Watchtower, and first I'm going to go over the acoustic 12-string rhythm guitar part. All right, for this section of the tune, Dave Mason switches to lower chord forms. We got C sharp minor here, 4th position, B, and then instead of a straight A chord, he plays A with a C sharp bass. So that's 4th fret of the A string with the ring finger, and then 2, 2, 2, D, G, and B string with the index. And you want to strum through every chord very clearly and get them to ring as much as possible. And that's one reason I like to use the pinky on the B chord. It helps with the transitions. Another cool thing is when you're coming up from the A with the C sharp bass, you could play B like this and get the top 2 open strings in there, which is like a B sus4 chord. And it's also another nice way to change, and also the sound opens up. There's also some expressive dead string hits, some strums that drive the rhythm along. One of them occurs here in bar 6, where you go. And then here in bar 8, there's a little riff. You play 1, 2. So I have 4th fret on the G, 5th fret on the B. And while I'm holding that, my index finger is actually barred across to the D string. And I'm going to hammer 4-6 on the D string. Right back into C sharp minor. And then at the end, with the drum fill in the last bar of the section, you're coming down from C sharp minor. And on this A with the C sharp bass, it's very animated strumming. And to make that sound right, you should alternate between the bass note of the chord and the higher part of the chord. Like. It doesn't have to be that precise, but that's the idea. All right, during those verse sections, there's also an electric rhythm guitar part. For the most part, Jimmy plays some little single note fills and stuff, as opposed to fuller voice chords. So let's go over those electric rhythm parts for the first verse. All right, for the lead guitar part, Jimmy's just playing these little fills, and they come off of each chord. So if you were to think of the chords as thumbed 6-string root chords, as Jimmy often plays, you would have C sharp minor here, B major here, and A major here. But he never plays full chords, so it starts coming in on B2 of the first bar, 1. So that was a pull off 11-9 on the G, 2. The barring across the 5th and 4th strings, 9th fret, 7th fret. So 1. So this is in bar 2. He plays. So we got 1, 2, like that. So 1, that's barring across 7th fret of the A and the D, and then a quick hammer, 7-9 on the low E, and then you're going to slide up 9-11 on the A, and then a quick hammer pull on the D string, and then you're going to come back down. Instead of just going onto the A string, we're going to go and get both these strings like that. So you've got. Now in bar 3, you got the thumb. One more time, just playing a B, referencing the B chord like that, and the A chord like that, 9th fret, 7th fret. So here now in bar 4, we're on A. That's 7-9-7 on the D, slide up to the 11th fret. So the big thing is the changing of the positions between your riffs on C sharp minor and then the riffs on A. But usually, when he plays a riff after the A chord, if he does, it's either going to be referenced back to the C sharp minor, meaning it would be like. So he's just thinking about fills being based on C sharp minor. In this particular case, here in bar 4, he does a little quick hammer pull 7-9-7, which sounds like it's over the A chord. 9-11-9-11, bar 5. And then here in bar 6, we're on A. Little riff there around the B before you go back to C sharp minor. Then that thumb again for C sharp minor. And then here for A, you could play the 7-7-6-5, sounds nice and full. And that E to F sharp to E as a slide jumps out nicely. So you start by that 9-11 slide on the A string. Now bar 9 into bar 10. Bar 10. So instead of just sliding on the G string, we're going to slide on the G and the D string, barring across 9 to 11 to 9. Then bar 11, that's kind of cool. So after you hammer 9 to 11, a quick hammer pull off on the D while you're barring across to the 9th fret of the G string also. Like that. So what's neat is he's always coming up with some little different wrinkle. All these little variances, they're so slight that have to do with hammers and pulls and slides. And that's the style. That's that R&B style of rhythm guitar that Jimmy was so great at. And then in these last 4 bars, he's going to go down to 4th position. And that's kind of nice on the A C sharp chord. 2-5-2 on the B string. So these are the same voicings as the 12 string. And then he jumps back up to 9th position for the beginning of the first solo. That's 12th fret of the B string, bent up a whole step, and released, and that's the beginning of the first solo. All right, so this first guitar solo begins with a unison bend. This is 9th fret of the high E with 12th fret of the B, and it's vibratoed. And then you're going to bend, release, and pull off. So one more time, you got 1, 2. And you can do this 11th fret of the G string with the ring finger or the middle finger, whichever is more comfortable for you. So at the end of bar 2 there, you're going to sustain that bend and vibrato for 3 full beats. 1, 2, 3, release, pull off. Now bar 3. So we're starting 9th fret of the G. 9th fret of the G, slide up to 13th fret of the G, 12th fret of the B. And here you're bending that 14th fret of the B, the C sharp, up to D sharp, a whole step. All right, here in bar 4, across beats 3 and 4, you're going to bend that C sharp up a step and a half, release, up a step and a half again twice. So bend, release, bend, and bend again. And vibrato. So that's another bend up a step and a half and release. So in bar 6, got that hammer 12, 14 on the B. Slide down. Then you're going to slide up to 11th fret on the D. And that E note's on the downbeat of B3 in bar 6. And then the last lick in this solo goes across the last 2 bars, bars 7 and 8 of that section. And that high C sharp, that's the first note. And this is a cool riff, it's all picked. So you follow that fretted C sharp with a B that's bent up a whole step to C sharp. Then 9, 12, 9, high A, B. One more time, coming from the previous bar. So you're going to bend 11th fret of the G up a whole step, bar across the top 2 at the 9th fret. So here at bar 7 from the beginning. Set the half step bend on the 11th fret of the G, come back down. Or you could do it as a pull off. And then bar 8, bend up a whole step, 11th fret. Last note you play is that 9th fret of the G. And it's neat, that slide up at the end, it goes all the way up to the 18th fret, and that's a C sharp note. Following that first guitar solo is the second verse, and then after the second verse, there are 4 more choruses of soloing, and this is one of the things that All Along the Watchtower is really known and well loved for, is these incredible solos that Hendrix created for the song. Now, behind all those solos is that heavy strumming 12-string acoustic, so I've already laid that down on the tracks, and we're just going to go over those solos, those electric solos. So now let's start with the first solo that comes after the second verse, and then we're going to progress through all the following solos. Here's that first guitar solo that follows the second verse. Okay, this second chorus of soloing begins with a repeatedly picked E note on the 9th fret of the G string. So you're going to pick it, and then you pick 11th fret, and that 11th fret of the G then slides up a whole step to the 13th fret. And now here in bar 2 on B3, 1, 2. So we're doing another unison bend, 9th fret of the high E, 12th fret of the B bend, a whole step. So you hold the bend while you repeatedly pick the 2 strings. That's for beat 3, and then on beat 4 you bend it again. Now in bar 3 we're going to begin with the bend, up a whole step, release, back to 9th fret of the B. So this is on the B string. 12th fret bend, a whole step and release. 9th fret. So you're going to land 11th fret of the G, unbent, and then you bend it 3 times. And that third time, you put a vibrato on it and get a little bit of that 9th fret of the B in there for a unison bend. So those 2 strings together. Now we're into bar 4. So after you're holding that vibrato unison bend, you're going to bend up, down, release, and come down. And then right back to a bend. So that's 11th fret bend whole step, 9th fret of the B, 9th fret of the high E. And right here, I switch to my middle finger to go for that quick slide up to the C sharp note, 14th fret of the B string, followed by 12th fret of the E string and 14th fret of the E string. And you can either use your ring finger for the bends there. Now here going into bar 6, you have that 14th fret of the high E that's bent up a whole step and released. So it's bent, released. So you hear the sound of it going down. 12th fret of the high E. Back to 14, and then 14 bent. So this is 7th bar, this solo. We're going to bend. Bending that 14th fret of the B, up whole step, releasing, and bending it again. That's into bar 8 of that solo. So bent, released repeatedly. Then you slide up 12, 13 on the G string. Slide down. For the next chorus of guitar soloing, Jimmy did something very unusual. He used an electric 12 string, and the other thing he did was he used a slide. So this solo is made up of these long glissandos sliding up and down, and it's really neat to hear it on a 12 string, and there's a lot of echo on there too. And then at one point he actually picks a pair of strings to play a little part in harmony. So let's play that guitar part now, and then I'll show you how to do it. All right, the slide solo comes in on B3 of the first bar, and you just kind of slide down from almost anywhere, but it sounds like it starts from the 15th fret across the D, G, and B string, and then you're going to go up from the 4th fret on the D string up to the 11th fret root note on the D string. And then slide up 11th fret to 14th fret. It sounds nice to use your fingers, especially here in bar 5, because he picks two strings at once, 11th fret of the D and 11th fret of the B. And then the solo ends sliding 9 to 11, and then 11 to 13. Back to 11. 9, 11, and you come down. So one more time, the whole solo slowly. You got 1, 2. And when using the slide, you want to make sure you don't press the strings down against the fretboard. Lightly on the string and directly over the fret so that you'll be intonated properly. Following that slide guitar solo is the 4th guitar solo in the song, and this solo is played with a wah-wah and begins with sliding octave figures. Here it is. right, this solo begins with sliding octaves. We're going to start with an E octave, 9th fret of the G, 12th fret of the high E. And we're rocking the wah-wah from bass to treble pretty much on every beat. So treble, treble, treble. So we're going to slide from 9th fret with the index, and you keep that 3-fret span the whole way for your octave sound. So 9th fret, slide to the 11th fret, strum 4 times. Slide to the 13th fret, slide to the 16th fret. So after strumming 4/16, it's 3. It's an 8th note and 2/16 after that, 3 strums. And now here at the end of bar 2, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2/16. So 2/16 notes. We're bending that 11th fret of the G string up a whole step. And your index finger's barred across the top 2 strings at the 9th fret. So, bar 3 here, that's how it begins. 9, 12, 9, 12, 9, between the high E string and the B string. And then right back to that bend. Bend on the G string 11th fret whole step, and then that index finger barred across the top 2 at the 9th. And I like using my middle finger for the bend because it keeps that 3-finger stretch on those top strings, which is something that Hendrix would do all the time because he had such big hands. 12, 11, bend, unbent, 9th fret, 11th fret. And here at the end of bar 4, you're going to bend that 12th fret of the B slowly up a whole step. And now here in bar 5, so this is one of these unusual Hendrix type riffs that he actually learned from T-Bone Walker. It's a T-Bone Walker riff. 9, 12, 9, 11. So we're going to start by going 9, 12, 9, 11. But then after that, you're going to go 9, 9, 12, 9, 11, 9, 9, 12, 9, 11, 9. So it flips over. So you can see how you have all the different shapes. The first shape is, second shape is, third shape, and then we're back to the second shape. It's really neat how it sets up bar 6. And that riff that comes down after that. So you're going to start that bar 6, bend up, whole step 12th fret of the B string. 9, 9, 9. Downbeat of 2 there. So B2 is B3, beat 4, end of the riff. And then these last two bars, you have unison bends on C sharp, 9th fret of the E, 12th fret of the B. And then just move that up a whole step, 11th fret, 14th fret. All right, now we've got the 5th chorus of soloing, the last one on the tune that we're going to cover. And for this one, it's really cool. It's like a rhythm guitar part with a very dry, undistorted tone. It's just a whole other texture, and it's really neat how it caps off all of these other sounds and flavors in the solo. So here we go. This is the 5th guitar solo on All Along the Watchtower. For this last chorus of soloing, it's a pretty clean guitar part, and all the licks come right off the chord forms. So we're going to start with C sharp minor 9, so that's 9th fret, 9th fret, 11th fret with the ring finger. So that's C sharp minor 9, and then the ring finger comes off. So you slide into B, this is 8th fret, 7th, 7th, and very quickly put your ring finger on 9th fret of the high E and then bring it off again. So you got, and that's an A chord right there, so 6, 5, 5. And then we're going to slide up to the 9th fret on the G, 8th fret on the B, and then 11th fret, 10th fret. And now the second time, we're going to play a fuller C sharp minor chord by starting on the D string. 11th fret with the ring finger, bar across. There's your straight B. And then this time, when you get to the A, you strum the chord, and then he strums 16th notes on the muted strings, which goes with the drum. Sounds really cool. Then you do the same kind of C sharp again. And this time on the A, you go, we're going to move up quicker. So you've got, and then the solo ends the last two bars with unison bends. So we start, index finger 9th fret, 12th fret on the B, and that same 3 fret span for all of them. That's the strumming pattern. So we moved up from the 9th fret, 11th, 12th, that's the index finger we're talking about, 14th, wind up on the 16th, 19th fret on the B string.